That is sweet.
Thank you so much. All right, are we ready?
No.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh,
okay.
is there someone else coming?
Yes. Now I'm ready.
Oh.
Okay, now he's ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, I have a fair few slides, so you're gonna have to bear with me, but don't worry, I will make it worth your while. So, today, obviously, we know why I'm here. I'm here to tell you guys why I should be motor lead. As you see, Candice DeFitt, motor lead, and what my plans are for the unit. You're also gonna have to bear with me when I change the slides. It's it's a bit awkward, so just give me a second.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted a slide bitch. Honestly, I was gonna get a slide bitch, but then I
thought about that. I was like,
yeah, I was going to. Sorry, I might trip up a few times when changing it too.
oh, that's right, because the way you
Yep.
tackle.
You remember.
Weird.
Oh,
weird.
that's awkward. That's not what I had.
What is this?
It appeared to be nothing.
Boy. Looks like I could climb into it.
There we go. It's my boy Einstein. Okay, so.
Whoa.
Whoa.
An
yes.
Einstein quote. All right.
Yeah, look, this is actually him, He actually was motor certed, I guess,
Whoa,
or
he's
bicycle
real?
cert. Yeah, this is actually real.
I
This
thought
is-
it was from a movie.
Oh, no, I mean the
Whoa.
picture. Like, he's the one riding the bike.
He's a real guy.
Yeah.
Is he alive?
No. Rest
Oh.
his soul in peace.
I thought he was from the Imitation Game starring Benedict Cumberbatch.
I don't know that film. I'm not a film watcher.
The movie.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
I've never
One of
seen
them.
it. Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway.
Same.
So we have Einstein behind me. You'll just have a look at him while I get on with what I want to tell you. So, as you guys know, I've been asked to come forward to you guys today with a proposal for my plans of the motor unit and what I'm going to do with it in the future. So, I could stand here today and give you a million empty promises or grand plans that may or may not happen, or I could even stand here and say I have no plan. I feel like anything I say would be meaningless without some weight and context behind it. So to help you guys fully understand what I plan to achieve in the motor unit in the future, you need to know my future in the past within the unit to see the reasoning behind my proposal today. Now, I'm aware that I know Stubbs probably knows, but Svensson, you probably won't know what my past. Actually, Stubbs, you might not know full of it. Of my past within the motor unit and the ins and outs of it over the past year. So I'm hoping that I will be able to catch you guys up. And if nothing else, hopefully it will just demonstrate the amount of experience I already have in the position of motor lead. So I hope that you guys enjoy. Stand by. Sorry, it's the awkward time where I have to change the thing. Okay. Chapter 1. Would you rather I stand here or to the side so you can see the thing?
Either or. Whatever's fine.
Okay. So, we're going right back to the beginning. As a cadet, some of you may remember, some of you may not. Stubbs was still DOC at the time. Spencer, we didn't really cross paths massively. But as a cadet, you could put me in a CVPI on a straight road, and honestly, I would find a way to crash. It was really bad. I would constantly be crashing. But then that all changed when I got on a motorbike. I got on it. I did all of the trials, and once I passed, I suddenly found out that I could keep up with everyone else on the chase, and I just fell in love with it. I found my calling as an officer, and it was amazing. I really liked it. And then soon after I found my footing in the unit, Mac, who was the current lead at the time, alongside Morton, but predominantly Mac for me, he took an extended leave. And so that left Roy and myself in charge of the unit. I was thrust straight into the deep end and had to do everything from running trials to managing the budget and everything in between. I was the go-to person for motor at that time, and I have to say, I really did love it. It was great. Stand by. Next one.
Chapter 2 or Chapter 3, the bad chapter.
Oh, we'll get to the bad chapter. But
I feel it coming.
first, we have the golden age. The golden age, yeah, you see, of Motor. This is what I would consider the golden age anyway. It was a great time. Everyone and their mums were asking and coming to me and asking, how do I get Motor certed? And what they needed to do for that. You know, look, even the dogs and the cats lined up, you see? Yep.
Damn,
Everyone.
Even the cats.
Even the cats. Even the cats. Even the raccoons. Everything. Somehow they managed to drive
I have a
bikes.
question.
Shoot.
How many canine units were certified in Motor in the golden age?
Ooh. I know at least one.
Okay, good to know.
There was at least one, yeah. And I know that they wanted a specific bike where they could get a carriage on the side and they could have their dog in it. It didn't quite happen, but I thought that was a pretty cool idea, which, you know, could definitely have maybe happened in the future, but I don't know if that would happen. It's wishful thinking. We can be wishful.
Okay, good to know.
So yes, everyone was coming to me. They were asking on how to get Motor, how to get certed, and what they needed to do. So business was booming. The unit was doing so good. It was running like an absolute well-oiled machine. And this was quite a while ago. This was even before we had supervisors. And so pretty much everyone went to either myself or Roy for any questions to do with Motor. And so at the time, not only was it fun, but it served its purpose really, really well. Maybe even too well sometimes. Alrighty, so then we're continuing on. Everything's going great. We've always got Motor. Everyone's always out on patrol. Myself, Roy, multiple other people, and Mac returned. So Mac returned, and while he did go ahead and he made me the first enforcer of the Motor unit, I was met with quite a lot of resistance on most of the decisions I tried to make for the unit. So we both kind of just fundamentally disagreed on how to run the unit. He had an attitude of letting people have fun with it, making the cert process as easy as possible, and kind of letting anyone ride it pretty much. Whereas I, on the other hand, wanted to keep it a lot more tight-knit and strict, but while also being fair and fun. Because the thing is, it is a specialized unit, and I feel like we should have people who know what they're doing on it. And also what I'd learned is that Motor is a very powerful tool and it can be dangerous in the wrong hands. And I didn't want anything bad to happen to it. So, but with that all being said, I was feeling pretty unsatisfied with the direction the unit was being taken into. And so I decided instead to try to go for a subunit. And this is the Street Racing Motor Unit, for short SRMU. This was something I worked on for a long time. I worked alongside SRU and a bunch of other people, including like people from Air One and all of that kind of stuff too. And it was going to be a subunit and an extension of SRU and Motor. But it would be primarily focusing on bike-heavy crimes, such as bike street races. At the time, bike street races were running rampant, and there was bikes on every single chase that we were pretty much doing. It was all going really well. I did another presentation. So as you can see behind me, this was the last presentation I did. So I did this in front of Angel and Snow and a bunch of other people. This room was full up. There was like Fury, just a bunch of SRU people. And this is pretty much some of the presentations I did. I spoke to a lot of crims. I got all of this stuff together. And the final thing that needed to be done was the SOPs. That was the last step. Angel had approved it. She'd got over her hatred for bikes and it was about to happen. I was working overtime, and as you can see here, this one right here, this is the front page of the SOPs. They were going to be kind of a mixture of the motor ones and the SRU ones, and they were pretty much nearly ready to go. Until...
Oh.
Trouble in paradise. Sorry, I made myself laugh. It was a dark time. At this time, complaints were being made, and word was getting around that Motor was doing things that they shouldn't do. And unfortunately, none of these problems were being relayed to anyone in the motor unit. None of the higher ups in the motor unit that could actually do something about it, hold people accountable. None of them knew. And at the time, I didn't know this, but the rules regarding who can take out Motor were becoming extremely lax, especially in shift 2. I even found out later that goddamn Brick, he said to me, yeah, I just took it out. I thought, fuck it, I took it out. No one told me otherwise. Not started, just took the bike out and fucked around on it whenever he wanted. And so a lot of incidents were coming up. People were running over bikes. They were getting in the way. Their pursuit etiquette was awful. And it's just, I hear about all these things later down the line. So people were abusing it, fucking around on it, and getting themselves and others hurt. So it starts to go downhill. Ready. So then tensions were high. They were rising. And the complaints were happening a lot of the time, right? And it was kind of at this time that I started to catch on to that something was happening to the motor unit. And none of the complaints were actually fed back to me. And I wasn't really given any names of who had done wrong. But I was turning up to like MRPD meetings, and I would see people just openly shitting on the motor unit and saying just how useless and annoying it was. There was a time when Pred was up here and Vale was up here. They'd even made a picture that had like, they called it motor turds. There was a picture of a poop, and there was a picture of the bikes. And they were just openly taking the piss in front of the whole meeting.
There's no way Kyle Pred openly made fun of people.
Openly, I know.
No!
It's crazy. But you know what? Most people just let him fucking stand up here and take the piss out of things and openly just do that shit. But I didn't. I sat there. I was seething in my little motor unit, and I just got up to the front of this meeting and I stood up for Motor. I told them to stop clowning on the unit. I told them how shit was wrong. And I said to them, if they have complaints, you should bring it up to a unit so we can actually work on it. Instead of just taking the piss and putting up a picture and saying that they were motor turds. I stood up for it. Unfortunately, I think my standing up was too late. Because at that point, Motor was already done for. Yeah, you can see. They picked up that bike. And all the bikes. Everyone's happiness, excitement. Threw it in the fucking bin. It was hard. It was rough. I mean, you guys probably remember this happening, you know? It was a rough time. But the reason
That's when I quit Motor.
Exactly. It's when a lot of people quit Motor. Lots of people were demotivated. They just didn't feel like getting on it anymore because it felt like to a lot of people that didn't have all the context, it just came out of nowhere. Everyone felt like they were doing a good job, at least like for the people that I saw doing Motor. And if they weren't, they were being held accountable. But regardless, the main reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to tell you the context behind my story in this part. So obviously, you know already, I've done a lot of work up to this, doing like the subunit and trying to just keep everything running like a well-oiled machine while the lead wasn't around. And a couple of weeks before the second kind of set of the huge SOP changes were made to the motor unit, I was added to an email chain with the enforcers, Mac, and Pred. And I was asked in this for my suggestions of how to fix motor. So, you know, I eagerly just started typing my paragraphs. I sent them in and I just eagerly waited for a response. I didn't get one. I know that Mac was also kind of ignored in there too. And I could tell at that time they were just set on the decision of heavily limiting the motor SOPs before even speaking to us. Which then was kind of shown a bit later when they released the updated motor SOPs with barely any changes from the original SOPs they proposed to us before talking to us. So, you guys, you'll like this one. This one's my favorite one. This one's my favorite one. You ready? You ready? Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Fuck. Oh, there it is. Okay, it worked. This fucking monkey with the helmet on. So. I had no faith that my voice was going to be heard. Mine amongst everyone else's. And so instead of fighting this endless fight or bending over backwards to comply with the new SOPs, I didn't get on bike in protest. The new SOPs, I felt like it made it completely pointless to even patrol on the bike. We were stripped down to going to 37s, going to traffic stops. And that was pretty much it. Or bike swaps. But at the time, no one wanted to patrol it. You know, we specialize in certain things, you know, for a reason, right? Like 37s aren't my speciality. There are some people that are going to be really good on that. I can put my efforts in somewhere else a lot more and do a better job. Instead of sitting on a bike trying to go to 37s that I'm not as specialized in, and 38s and that kind of stuff. It just felt very pointless, and I'm sure a lot of motor units at the time would probably have agreed with me. But regardless, I still ran trials. I still helped people out when they had motor questions. I didn't give up, but I just didn't get on the bike at that time, really. I just wasn't really prepared to be the dancing monkey that was called upon as soon as they needed to chase a bike. It was strapped to this leash of really, really, really strict SOPs, and then just locked back in a cage when they'd given up on the chase or lost the bike. After all of the time and effort that I had put into raising the unit up, bringing it to where it was, the golden age, and even trying to start up the subunit, which was just about ready to go, I just felt really defeated and needed time away from it. In comparison to the golden ages, these were the dark ages. But not all dark. Because even though, yes, it took it took a while, you know, one eternity later, it took until the goddamn restructure to finally get someone into the lead position that was around and that could help us get to where we are now. So eventually, High Command decided to give the unit to someone new and passionate. Now, I wish I could say that, you know, that was me after everything I'd done for the unit and how much I really wanted to lead it, but it wasn't me. It was Rose. As you can see, the Rose. God rest her soul. Someone who at the time I'd never met and had only had the Motor U cert for a few months. Obviously, I was a bit shocked, but turned out she actually did amazing. I'm not gonna lie, she did really good. I helped her where she needed it, and I trusted in her as a leader, and she would come up with great ideas and implement things into the motor unit. Ideas that I had had a long time ago, but unfortunately never got to implement myself. So I was more than happy to assist her and support her wherever she needed it. So, what did we learn? So now we're back to the present day. And what did I learn from my tale of these events? Well, I learned that motor is a very powerful tool. And with great power comes great responsibility. If it's not kept in check, it will put the rider and others in harm's way, as we saw a lot before it did get absolutely demolished. It can also, pardon me, cause increased aggression from the criminals. I mean, look, none of them want us to chase them in their shitty C classes with a fucking motor. You know, no one wants that. So, of course, you know, it can cause increased aggression. And the thing with this is without proper communication between the officers, certs, and the departments, everything can fall apart, as we very well saw. Uncerted people ideally shouldn't be on the bike at all. And all certed riders should be extremely competent, aware of their surroundings, and in my opinion, have the best pursuit etiquette out of everyone in that chase. You, as a motor unit, are the one that's most capable of causing harm, and you should be aware of this at all times. And you should know how to work your way around that bike and that pursuit. So now we're at present day. God, I'm really thirsty. My throat. You ready for this one, chat? You ready? Well. I'll let you have a gander at these.
I will stop spamming text if I can't leave.
Yep.
When was the last time you texted him?
Well, I texted him not too long ago and I said, can't believe you did this. Because he retired.
He did quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just give up.
Yeah.
Well.
The last text from him was, you're making this really hard. And I don't know if I wanted to know what was going on with Big T like that, honestly. Anyway, so I'm going to go into depth with some of these now. The ones that I think that are the most important to know. So, we have reason number 5, which was, I'm the only supervisor with a way to make trials. Now, I am currently the only motor unit who can physically make new trials besides Mac. Now, obviously, I'm not going to hold a trial-making dongle over anyone's heads. I also want to point out what I've actually done with that privilege. So, as you can see up here on the left, this is a trial. It's a semi-off-road bike track that I made around the Sandy area. This one was as a favor to Roy for an event that he wanted to do for all of the motor unit, and I think any SDSO that wanted to join too. Unfortunately, I don't think it ever happened because Roy got in big trouble for something. I don't really remember what it was, but yeah, he got in big trouble, so I'm not sure if it actually happened. But the trial was there for ready whenever we need it. And then on the right, we have a trial called Tunnels. So, if you're not aware, at one time, we couldn't use the Vespucci trial because BBMC decided to be obnoxious and get a gate, and so we couldn't go through because the trial went through the BBMC area, and the gate was always locked. So, it wasn't updated for a while, so we needed another trial. I made Tunnels, and Tunnels was specifically made as to focus on the technical skill and to replicate strats that you would see in a typical bike chase. So at the time, I found that we were chasing a lot of bikes that were going through a lot of alleyways, small squeezes, different jumps, all of these what we know as rat strats. And a lot of people will just complain and say, oh my god, they're doing the rat strats, I don't want to chase anymore. But I am instead under the mindset that why not just be better? Why not just learn to keep pursuing those? Why not learn to have a bit more skill with it? And so that was primarily what Tunnels was trying to do. A lot of people gave me that good feedback. We had quite good feedback. We got quite a few certs from quite a few units got started from this trial. And still to this day, I get multiple people come up to me and say that they actually used some of the things in that trial on their chases. And it helped them to be able to be prepared for it that day, which is really good. So, woo! Next is, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this picture has nothing to do with it, but I mean, I needed a picture and I thought it looked pretty wicked next to the bike. So,
yeah, Stubble loves the CPD uniform.
I mean, my butt looked really good in it, so I quite liked it, honestly.
I hated that uniform.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really suit you, honestly. No offense, like.
You know, I almost resigned. When CPD was announced, I was like, cool. And then they maybe put the uniform on. I was like, I'm going to the LSPD.
Wait, really? Damn.
I had like an hour where I was like, this is the worst. I hate myself. This is terrible. And then I was like, who gives a fuck? Uniform, it's annoying to not like how you look, but at the end of the day, I like the department, so I stayed.
Damn. Well, I'm glad you did, Stubbs. Now look at you.
Yeah, I was like,
helping us form this
I weighed the pros and cons of VPD, DPD, SDSO, ranges I didn't consider once. Fuck that. And then troopers as well. I was like, too early. No thanks.
Too early, yeah. Don't want to be going into retirement. Well, I'm glad you stuck around, Stubbs. But I looked good in it, right? Like, you've got to admit, like, I look pretty wicked there, right?
Yeah. Really
Thank
cool
you.
uniform.
Yeah, some people could pull it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Not
liked
me.
it. Personally, it was one of my favorites. Yeah.
I look so dumb.
Dude, not as dumb as Dan Faley.
Oh, true. I remember when Dan Faley put that on, he was like scratching himself. He hated that shit.
Yeah, and he powdered about it for like 2 months.
Yeah, he didn't stop. He was constantly like, I hate this uniform. Oh, now we're back to this one. It's not too bad. Not too bad. So, this one.
Like a dumb scarf. Stupid side holsters.
You do look stupid.
Ugh.
I don't know if I got a badge around that time. No one was as quick at making badges as you are. Stubbs. No one ever did. Took them so long.
Yep. It's because I'm just a no life.
Yep. Exactly.
I gotta do, was it 3 times Owen's hours? So I gotta do something in that time.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's part of the deal.
Part of the agreement.
Oh, God. You're crazy for that, honestly.
Kind of a raw deal.
It's a raw deal?
Yeah. It's a good deal for me because I don't have to do any hours.
True.
He does all of them for me.
True. Stubbs is always there. Always there when you need him.
Moulton had that with Bass, and now that's why he's kind of like
Oh, he did?
lost puppy. Yeah.
Well, speculation, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah, speculation.
We should ask him. Communication. It's a good question. Anyway, speaking of communication, I mean, this one isn't actually communication. This one is the pursuit trials. So this is number 17, and I cut off this one, but another reason. So you're probably aware that SRU, now HSPU, have always had a pursuit trial as part of their certification process. So, which I also actually managed to join at some point. Sometimes they would ask me to help them on motor with their pursuit trials, which was another really good way of communicating with them and knowing what all of the other certs were doing and everything. But with that being said, I was inspired by it, and I decided that motor should also have the same. So I ran the first ever pursuit trial for motor, and it was how Flop got certed today. He is now one of the most competent riders we have and a supervisor himself. After the pursuit trial, we also ran a bit of tandem as well on a vault chase, and it was a really good way to test people in their abilities if they are not so good in the trial test scenario. And it worked really good at the time. And it's something that we still continue to this day. And it's something that Rose kind of brought back into. And it works really well. So, now going on to communication. communication. We've all been on the bad end of communication. And I'm sure that all of us can agree it never ends well. But I would like to bring your attention to this picture in front of me. So what you'll see here is you'll see Underwood. Good old Underwood in the middle. And on his left, you'll see Angel. But whoa, who's that on his right? That's not an SRU driver. It's Candice. And what's that behind them?
What the hell is she doing there?
Oh, exactly. What's she doing there? And you see behind them, there's bikes. And they're painted white. What the hell? Wow. This picture is testament to how tightly I worked with the other units and how much communication means to me between departments and units. This picture was a photo taken on the SRU photo day. And motor was included. We were asked to go there, paint our bikes white, and be in the picture. Not only in the picture, but right up there in front with the leads of the whole unit. Now, I've always been, if you know me at all, I've always been a big advocate for communicating everything. You know, I think that it could have avoided the downfall of motor, and it is what allows us to be capable of great heights and teamwork. It's something I try to practice every single day as a sergeant, and it's the main thing, actually, that I try to tackle during my brief time as undersheriff. So. Oh, might be a little bit hard to read. I can read them out if needs be. But the general standards and values of motor. Oh, actually, let me get this up for myself too. I'm gonna have to read it myself too. So the first one, motor is a tool, a very powerful one. Certified riders should be competent and understand the responsibility that they hold. So, as I've mentioned it a few times throughout. Motor is it's a specialized unit, right? And before we go on, I just want to say this is the no nonsense part. This is pretty much everything. Like, this is my plans of going ahead and my philosophy of how to. Oh, well, you can't even see it. That's
the one moment you needed.
The one moment, the actual moment that I really want to say.
It's weird how the badges get all. Oh, you've ever noticed that? Your badges and emblems are all dark now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Motor
yeah.
is a tool, a very powerful one.
Oh, you can see it. Oh, God. Okay. Yes, this is the no-nonsense time. This is kind of the things I would like to uphold. So I know that motor is it's a special tool. It's a specialization, right? And it's something that I think that people riding it should be very, very competent in. They should have the correct amount of training, whether that be through the trials, through the pursuit trial, through a tandem ride, through lots of different things. And I don't think that everyone should be trained in the exact same way. But alongside the certification process, I think that we should have extras added to it, where we have, which I'll actually touch on a little bit later too, but specific training for, let's say, spiking, for batoning, and other things like that. I'll go back to it if I don't quite catch on it, but I'm pretty sure I've got my slides for those parts. So that being said, also gold standard pursuit etiquette is expected of all motor units. I find when you're riding motor, you really need to be aware of where the chase is going, when it's going to come to you, even how close to the wall that you need to be on the pavement for when they're going to be driving around you, your spatial awareness, and that includes any bubble butts that you may have. It includes everything. You have to consider all of the people around you. It also includes having good communication when you're passing people, if you have a motor pursuit that you are on, and just everything to do with it. Pursuit etiquette is so important, and I feel like it's something that people don't necessarily always realize, and which was part of the big problem, in my opinion, of why getting non-certed people on the bikes actually went so bad. if they don't understand that you need to have that pursuit etiquette and you need to be aware of everything that's going on, you're going to get in the way. You're going to blow up, and it's going to end how it did before. So the certification process will be difficult but fair and give people alternative ways of passing as long as we know they're competent. So I've briefly touched on this already as well. I'm a firm believer that just, dare I say it, racing around on a racetrack is not really the way to show people's competence on the bike. It's a good starting position to get you used to how the bike drives and how much brakes to use, what it drives like in S+, how quick it is to brake, how curbs suck, how every single nook and cranny of it, right? It's good for that, and it's good to kind of get you speeding up on it. But I never believe that it's the be all and end all, and that's why I brought in pursuit trials before, because I think that a pursuit trial will show what they'll actually do out on the field. I know me personally, when I was doing trials, it took me so long to get to these goddamn times, and then eventually I was allowed to get out there and I was allowed to go and try out on chases. And my goodness, I caught everyone that day. It was great. It's such a better way to like show your skills on it. That alongside other forms of training and riding tandem with another motor unit, whether that's via supervisor, and to see how they go around on tandem and see how they react to different scenarios on shift. I believe that those and other ways, all of those are the best ways to try and give people the certification process. But it won't even end there. I also believe that we should hold them accountable, keep them up to scratch, and keep extra training going forwards on the specifics of what the motor unit does, which I may touch on a bit later too. The next one is the bikes will be taken care of, and repeated failure to do so will be punished with strikes. So we started to have like a striking unit, which I always felt like didn't really get implemented enough, because a lot of people will leave the, I mean, we've all had this with shared vehicles, right, where people will leave them. They won't really repair them, they won't refuel them and all that kind of crap. So I'll make sure that they're all kept up to scrap and that they will be held accountable, and also not even just that they are repaired, also them out on the field. I want the communication. I want to hear if people have fucked up. I want to be able to give them those strikes, give them the warning, hold them accountable, and make sure we keep the motor unit to a good standard that is actually useful and not a hindrance on any chases. So if bikes are absolutely needed and nobody certed is around, this is something that I think that we all need to know. For me, the priority order is previously certed units, and then command members. So, you know, I assume there'll be someone who is either command or whatever around. Let's say it's Snow. He'll ask over radio. Anyone that's any certed units, no one answers. Any previously certed units, if there is, they're welcome to take that out for that chase and that chase only, and then they put it away. If none of them are around, then obviously we trust command to do what they need to at that point. So, this alongside all the next things that I'm going to be saying. Oh God, there's so much. The future. So, the future. Now, you guys have all heard my general philosophy for how to run the unit and my reasons for doing so. I'm going to quickly run you through the changes that I would seek to make straight away to the motor unit. If you guys give me a chance, then I can make a change. Okay. I made it purposefully awkward. Alrighty, on to the first thing. Fuck curbs. Fuck every goddamn curb in this city. I need to deforest this city and I need to get rid of every single goddamn curb. These things are evil. They are the death of us. So you may or may not be aware, but if a police bike hits a curb at a slightly certain angle, that bitch is going to space. You are zooming. If you've seen a bike unit fly, yeah, it's probably because they hit a goddamn freaking curb, okay? And I'm fairly certain. I think this is to do with the shape of the bike on the bottom or something like that. And it's something that I've already been trying to get fixed since the old car guy was around. God rest his soul. But I've since reached out to the new car guy, and I am in communications with him in an effort to get this fixed. And it's something I'm going to keep chasing up until it does get fixed, because it's annoying as hell. And I want you to know that no other goddamn bike has this problem. Just the PD ones. On that same vein, I am also speaking to the new car guy about tuning the bike differently. So obviously new bikes would be great. It'd be ideal. It'd be awesome. But I'm aware we may not have the facilities for that. Big man.
Is that a tricycle? What do you call it with the 2 wheels in front?
Yeah.
It's actually got 4 wheels. Actually, no, it's got 3.
Where's the fourth?
Never mind. The 4th is the
Steering
one
wheel.
is the steering. Yeah,
Oh, they have handles. They have handles.
The mechanics inside, you know. It's yeah, I don't know. I thought
Sounds
this would
like
be
a
pretty
train.
cool. Yeah, well, you know, that's the thing. That our bikes are that
Oh.
fucked up. They sound like trains, you see. You know, we get onto the train tracks and they go 70 miles an hour. And they go... It's just a pain in the fucking ass. I wish we could have these bikes, yeah. So, ironically though, you may or may not know it, but like, as it currently stands, the police bike we have, it's just ironically not great at chasing the crim bikes. It doesn't keep up. It has a lot of small things that could just be tuned to make it a lot easier for us to keep up with them and to end the bike chases, you know, and to actually catch these bastards. Again, I'm in contact with the car guy and I'm collaborating with him to get the bike tuned better for that. That was also something I've been pursuing since a few years ago, and what I would continue to pursue as lead of the unit.
That looks dangerous.
It's yeah, I know. It is very dangerous. I mean, most of it's kind of dangerous. That's why you got to be started properly, otherwise you'll fall off. It's happy wheels.
That tire is popped.
Yeah, honestly, I think they're on nails. I think maybe.
Those are very large nails.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
That kid is about to die.
Maybe, but that's the thing. Sometimes kids have to die in the shape of the law. Would you shoot a baby if it did a crime?
Well, what's the crime?
They murdered your mom.
Is the baby like a fleeing felon, armed dangerous, or
Yeah, they're on the floor and they're crawling away.
gun in hand?
Gun in hand.
There will not be another birthday party for that kid.
Amazing. Amazing. Anyway, I don't know how we got there, but new trials. So, I don't know. As you are already aware, I have the ability to make new trials. And at the time, at the now and the time and the current, we have a deal with BBMC where we pay them every time we want to run the Vespucci trial. I know you probably think that's crazy. We pay a gang to go and run a trial in there. I know, I thought it too. I think it's kind of crazy. I will, but you know, I respected the decisions of the previous leaders, and it's whatever. So it is amicable until BBMC decide that they're bored and they start charging us extra or fucking with us on the trials, both of which they have previously done before. So, but the worst case scenario is that I am prepared to make an entirely new trial if I need to keep our officers out of harm's way to avoid making them have to negotiate with gang members. I don't want to put them in harm's way just for a trial, you know? So I've been keeping up with the problem of BBMC and they're cooperating for now, but as soon as they stop again, I plan to make the trial elsewhere. I already have some ideas in my head and yeah, I'm not afraid to just put them down and to just get rid of this goddamn trial so that we don't have to deal with the BBMC ever again. We're nearly done, chat. So, baton training. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how much both of you have been on a motorbike and you've tried to baton a criminal off of their bike. Oh, it's quite a technical challenge. It is, but it's also something that every motor unit is expected to be able to do. But the funny thing is, none of them actually have training in it. They're expected to get on this bike and just be able to baton every single criminal off. So, I aim to rectify this immediately by implementing baton training into either the cert process or something we run from time to time to keep everyone's skills in check, or both. And alongside this, I've got to add it as a slide, but as I said, I mean, I kind of mentioned it earlier, pursuit etiquette is very important on motor, and I'd like to incorporate that training into the certification process too, whether that be in the pursuit trial or something a bit later on, a bit extra. It's something I'd like to add as well. And one more thing I did forget was specifically spike training. Now, all of this can come under the pursuit trial, but there are a lot of specifics that you definitely could do with a bit more training on. I personally did some spike training with Fury, and it was really, really useful just to have some tips and tricks on exactly where to parallel to get those spikes and good spots for it, because practice makes perfect, and a lot of the time you don't always get every single bit of practice you need on an active chase. And actually, the day after I had that training with Fury, I spiked forehead and we got him in custody. So it definitely helped, and it's something I would also like to implement too. But going back to the batoning, it's something that was mentioned through command, and how, you know, bike chases weren't really ending. And so this is the way I aim to rectify it, is to have some baton training. I realized we don't have that training and we kind of need it. So I would like to do that. Coming to the end, chat. We're coming to the end. Oh, look how good she looks. Sheesh. Okay, so in conclusion, you have seen my journey through motor. You've seen trials, the tribulations, the highs, the lows. You've seen how I would like to run the unit in the future, and you've seen the changes I would make, my strengths, my weaknesses, and I only hope that you make the right decision by making me the motor lead.